All right, guys, we are back, and wow, Ratsma looks like very, very different all of a sudden. Now we have ADWCTA joining us in place of Ratsma here. I'm gonna fix the overlay in just 1 second, but for the time being, he's sitting in the Ratsma spot. Yeah, I figured I'd bring.
I figure I'd save you guys from just listening to Merps talk for the next like half hour.
What's wrong with that,
Harsh,
man?
man.
What's wrong with
Harsh.
that?
I got some knowledge I want to, you know, toss out here. I'm ready for these questions.
All right, let's see what we got, guys. For those of you that want to ask your questions, go ahead and tweet it to @ChanManV, or you can post it in the comments here, which most people have been doing right here. And first question is from Parts Zaro. Is Merp's strategy to being the #1 arena deity buying out his opponents, bringing down the win rate of streamers he co-ops with by misplaying, or are the chinchillas giving him superpowers?
It's 1, 2, and 3,
One, two.
honestly. And I will explain. So we, ADWCTA and I have a great system where we paying lots and lots of opponents to toss games in the most epic way possible. So #1 we get the win, and #2 we get the YouTube highlight. So it's really good. And
Well worth the money. People are really cheap. They'll throw games for like very little money.
Yep.
Oh,
and
man.
#2, that is our
Esports,
strategy.
esports.
So if you see people who we do co-ops with, like I did a co-op with Hafu, and I used my account, and we went 12-0. And then we jumped over to her account, and she played Warrior. And then we started off like 1 and 2, and then I kind of just ditched it to go do something else. So yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just sabotage other people.
That's harsh, man. That's harsh, but a good strategy nonetheless.
You gotta do what you gotta do to stay on top.
That was Hafu's mistake. She was like, "Chat, why don't you pick the class?" Not knowing that it was our chat that was joining her
Paid
chat,
every single-
and
yeah,
so
exactly.
Warrior will always win.
Oh man! All right, so that's questions from Bart Zaro. Next question: Artur B. Oh man, Kachenko. It seems like League of Explorers is addressing the issues we had from 3 to 5 months ago, where people were complaining about RNG a lot. Do you think this means it's likely our meta complaints from the past month? Wait, do you think it's likely our meta complaints from the past month will be addressed in the next expansion or potential balance patch, hopefully?
This seems like it's a constructed question,
Yeah.
because when you say meta, I'm assuming you mean kind of like the secret paladin kind of scum that's going around.
Scum. Wow. Okay.
I will turn this into a arena question. That's just because I can't really talk about the constructed. But if you mean that concerns with the arena meta, as in a lot of people think that they see too many paladins, they see too many of those. I don't think that will ever change, because I think in the arena, you're always going to have one class that is either a little bit more powerful or a lot more powerful. But even if it's just a little bit more powerful, people are still going to pick it. The vast majority of people, you want to win, so they're going to pick the winning class. So I don't know if that will ever be solved. I think they can address it in some ways to bring down the power level of, let's say, if you do believe that Paladin is ridiculously overpowered, I think they can do things to address it, but I think you're always going to have a big chunk of the arena meta be like 1 or 2 classes, just because they're going to, rise a little bit or a lot above the others.
Yeah, and it's not just about which class is more powerful. It's about which class is more powerful and easy to play.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people can get 12 wins with a paladin 1 out of every 10 times. Less people can get 12 wins with mage like that. Even less people can get 12 wins with rogue like that. And so you see a lot of paladins when you get to especially the higher win rates for that reason. And in some ways, I think this meta in terms of the paladins is actually better than the previous meta, which is mage, because mage was not only the best class, it was also the best class and the easiest to play class that was good. And so I had this weird thing where everybody just played mage if you want to win, and every other class had like at least a little bit of a handicap. Here it's pretty balanced at the very top, right? Paladins are good for most people, but if you get like a real like expert in, they'll probably do just as well, probably better with like rogue and mage. I remember the last time I was on here with Hafu and Kripp, We were asked like, what was the best? This is right, a little bit after TGT comes out, and it was like, what's the best class in TGT? Hafu says Paladin, Kripp says Mage, I say Rogue, right? Like that's pretty healthy for a meta when it comes to the top class.
Yeah. In terms of constructed, I guess I can speak to a little bit about that. Issues of 3 to 5 months ago. I mean, 3 to 5 months ago, we were just complaining about Patron Warrior, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, we were seeing we
Oh
saw
no,
that
they're
change.
gonna nerf frothing.
I know exactly. Oh man, but in terms of complaining about RNG, I mean, the new mechanic is somewhat of an RNG thing. Discover. It's just like Merps was saying earlier. I think it's a better execution of an RNG type of play, where you actually give the players choices, even though like the cards that show up do have some randomness to them. At least you give them choices, right? And it doesn't feel so bad when things happen. But I would say that a lot of these cards, even though they do help Arena a lot, they feel more fun, right? Like all this
Yeah.
golden monkey stuff,
Definitely.
and all these characters, and I would say if anything, they're going down the road of fun. I think it's a little bit more that way with this adventurer, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It might be, it might be a little disappointing from the competitive standpoint, but I don't think it affects it that negatively at all. One of the cool things about the cards that are added, I feel like there are maybe a couple cards that people can, attempt to build decks around. Kind of similar to what we saw with Mysterious Challenger, right? We might see some people build stuff around Reno Jackson and cards like that, and that's all we're asking for. We just want to see new decks, guys. Like if we can, if there's still the old decks existent, that's fine. As long as we see maybe 1 or 2 new ones, I think that would be a success from the standpoint of a 45 card, expansion here.
Yeah, I think you'll see that.
Yeah.
I think there will be at least one new deck that comes out by the end of all the releases, just because there are some pretty powerful or powerful in the right situation kind of cards that were in here.
Yeah.
I think when Patron came out, no one was like, "Oh, this card's gonna ruin the meta." So I
Yeah.
think there's a good chance there's a sneaky one in here.
Yeah, I think the rogue cards for constructed, I think, are particularly interesting, given that rogues basically had one playstyle for the majority of the last year. It's pretty much been oil rogue,
Yep.
and that's it. Maybe some fatigue rogues every once in a while, like Ryzen's playing a fatigue rogue here and there, a mill rogue here and there, but that's about it. So I'm really excited to at least see those cards in play. All right, next question here we have. I find it interesting from Sean Hawley. I find it interesting that Blizzard has decided to create new lore with the characters in League of Explorers while they have so much to draw from out of the WoW universe. I'm wondering what spells and or minions that are not currently in the game from WoW universe do people like Kripp and others want in Hearthstone? Well, that would have been good to ask Kripp that one, because I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you guys are super knowledgeable about the lore.
I'm not super knowledgeable about the lore, but I'll just say that I kind of understand the direction that they're taking because if you look at so Hearthstone is just based on this kind of ridiculous premise, right? It's based on kind of this goofy, fun atmosphere and Warcraft lore. There's many ways like they have inside jokes and then it can be very funny, but it's very serious and it's a very lengthy history as well. And you're going to have this divergence, like this split sooner or later, where they're just going to have to create this very goofy lore and goofy stuff for Hearthstone because that's just the kind of game it is. It's this just card game that really pushes this sort of fun atmosphere. And I think that, it didn't have to have this separation at this expansion, but
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that they took the route that they did.
Yeah, I think this expansion in many ways was like a testing ground because they've never done anything like this before. It's off lore. It's kind of just the way the whole expansion is coming out. It's an adventure, but the adventure changes a lot of things around. It's not a straight up defeat the boss kind of adventure. And it also is very like it's pretty obvious this is not targeted at the constructed scene. it's more like, here are some cards we think you'll have fun with. You described it as casual, and I think that's right. And so, and casual and arena focused, because arena, everything's arena focused. You can't, no matter what you do, it's
casuals in
gonna,
arena.
yeah, arena's always going to be affected.
I'm just kidding.
So I think it's a giant test, and they'll see how well it does. And I hope it does well, because I think Hearthstone, with that kind of game and that kind of attitude, will benefit from a one serious, one not serious, or like two serious, one not serious kind of expansion thing.
Yeah, agreed. For
Yep.
again, like I got a chance to play, some just the new expansion, and you guys are going to be really really happy about it. I mean, I've been waiting for them to really take advantage of the fact that this is a digital game, and we can really set up different play types and play scenarios, and we've seen it. We saw it with the previous tavern, right? With the
Yes.
2-on-1 type of tavern. And then now we're seeing it with PvE, and this is a real PvE like you guys will experience tomorrow, and that's really really exciting. I think for Hearthstone, doesn't change the competitive scene again, but I think for the quality of the game, I think this is going to be really really good. Nicholas Lerevire, oh god, I hope I pronounced that right. Do you think there is potential to have alternative deck building modes beyond the current arena system? After watching the Challenge Stone finals at BlizzCon, I wondered if there was a place in Hearthstone for a rotating theme ladder, or is that something that's better left to one-off tournaments?
I think it's probably already in the works. I would be very surprised if it wasn't already in the works, and I mean more than just like an idea on the wall. I try to make predictions about what Blizzard's like doing, and I see how well they pan out, and they're actually I'm fairly on point generally, and I think it's already past the planning, like the on paper planning stages for this new mode that is going to come out either, if you're optimistic about it, maybe even in the winter, but probably like more like next spring, towards the end of spring, early summer,
Okay.
like around where Brawl came out actually. I would expect that to be like a release date. It's just it's a space they're already exploring, like you said, like these kinds of new game format, a PvE kind of thing. And they just kind of said at BlizzCon that they were still looking into how to properly make a tournament mode,
Yeah.
which tells me that tournament mode is not right around the corner. And what else are they doing with this game? That seems like the most logical place they would take the game that would get a lot of people, interested, or to retain a lot of people who are playing.
They're working
Yeah,
on
I think
deck
if
slots, Edwog. That's what they're working on. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That
All right,
12-month
come on.
process.
Come on. Or Merps,
Yeah.
you're going to say something?
Yeah, I think if you look at because Hearthstone, it's what it's done so far. It's done pretty well, but there's so much space to expand, and I do expect some expansion in terms of, because the arena, nothing has been tinkered with, nothing has been touched there, and even from the beginning, it felt just like this. They obviously put thought into it, but there was so much room to expand there, and I think that if they don't do it anytime soon, it boggles the mind why they wouldn't. Because I think out of all of the, out of like casual ranked Tavern Brawl arena, I think arena is kind of due for, for them to grow into this
vamp up.
expansive
Yeah,
space.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Marius Starian asked, are you guys hyped that Ben Brode mentioned that they are working on letting you see your golden cards in Arena? Too bad Kripp isn't there to answer the question anymore. I guess Kripp might have mentioned something before. I usually don't play my golden cards, believe it or not, because I'm one of those people that are like, if I don't have all of them, like Reynad and I guess Kripp probably, I just, it like bothers me not to have them all. Plus it makes my list longer, you know what I mean? So I'm real anal about the length of my list. What about you guys?
I would like it. It gives me something to play towards again, and I think some golden cards are just so cool looking. But this is me, right? I never see golden cards getting played, and when because I play Arena all the time, so when I watch a stream with an all golden deck, I'm like, that's what the golden card looks like.
Right,
Oh my God,
right.
it's
seeing it
such
for
like
the
an
first
out-of-body
time.
experience. Like
Yeah.
you see a golden card, you see the animation, and you're kind of like, I want to play that game. And then you're like, oh, but that's not the arena. So I am. It's going to be like a whole new game for me once,
Yep.
whenever Ben Bro's idea gets implemented, however it gets implemented. That'll be my next goal, like immediately, and then I'll be a very happy person.
Yeah, actually, you know what I'd like to see in the UI? I'd like the card backs to be more prominent. I think that's one thing that's
Yes.
lacking. I mean, they're trying to push like, oh, collect all these card backs. They're like so cool, and some of them are actually. I've been seeing some recently that are like, wow, that looks really sleek. But I see like half a card, like from my opponent. Maybe I see a card rotating across the screen every once in a while. But looking my own card back, it's hard as crap to even see my own card back, and that's what's supposed to, the whole vanity aspect of it, right? That's supposed to be the cool part. So I would like to see them do something about that. That way people would actually, I guess be more, enthralled by the whole card back thing. Right now, I feel like people don't give a crap.
And
it should be new animations that make the cards flip around on the board or something.
Yeah, or something like that, right? That would be cool.
If you look at successful models with like vanity items versus non-successful models, like successful models are like the skins in CS:GO and the skins in like League, right? And the part of the reason they're so successful is not only do you get to show off these things, you get to see it. And that goes to what we're talking about right now. It doesn't matter kind of like how exclusive it is. Like you want to see it. Like you want to see what the other person is seeing, and you don't get that with Hearthstone. You get that little peek at your card back, and there are some cool card backs too, that show you've gone to like some tournament.
They should add a new emote that makes you like shove one of your cards just like halfway across the board,
windmill style.
Just like I'll get my card back, and then pull it back.
Perfect.
Maybe have it on a slightly longer timer than the other emotes.
Like Osaka in Firebat. They'd have like a badass world champion, card back that they can just like shine in everybody's face, right? I mean, that should be amazing. It should be specifically designed for each one of them. That would be a really cool, just a cool note for them. All right. Oh gosh, Joanne Diende, and username is the Twitter account. Is Fossilized Devil Sword a good arena card? Maybe not enough beasts in an average draft.
I really like the card. So I'll say what the card is. It's an 8 mana 8/8.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Like an
it's an 8 mana 8/8 common neutral card, and it has a battle cry that says "Turn into an Ironbark if you have a beast."
Yeah, right.
So it's obviously not as good as an Ironbark, and an Ironbark is not the best card ever. And depending on what class you are, you probably don't have all that many beasts, and so it's not really going to get a taunt all that often. But it's an 8 mana 8/8, and I just like these cards because it's the arena. Like the common cards need to really fill up. It's like the 6th, 7th expansion by now.
Yeah.
I'm not really counting, but it just confuses me that there's still not like a generic 6 mana 6/6 really, or like stuff like that. So I like that this is basically filling that slot. Like you have Draken and Crusher that kind of fills the 6 mana 6/6 slot, but. Now and it's showing that Blizzard's exploring more of the space, right? It used to top out at 7 mana 7/7, and then there was a Force Tank Max, which is like an actual good card at 8. But now you get a neutral card at 8, and it's recognizing the 8 mana slot as like an exploration area of stuff may happen here, because things don't happen at 8 mana in Arena right now.
Right. Like we have the dominant 9 mana play, which is Sea Kraken, and it's pretty much an auto pick if you do get it. So what's happening on turn 9. On turn 8, it's Force Tank Max is not it's not a dominant pick. It's a above average pick, right? So what happens on there? It's like so. Oh gosh. So a lot of the times it's just like a 5 mana plus 3 mana card, and it gets a little bit messy. So this, as good of a card as it is, it's like meh, but it is like, it does something, right? It does something. It expands the kind of the territory of the arena.
All right, exactly. I'm trying to fix this thing on the fly here because
I was wondering.
No, this is wonderful. I want to. It's such an honor to be Kripp for a few minutes.
That's funny. All right, let's see if we've got any more questions here. There we go. Those of you that want to ask questions, go ahead and tweet it to @ChanManV. Did Rasma die? No, he did not die. I think that's going to be it actually for the questions. So why don't we wrap up? Merps actually had walked it too. Thanks for dropping by. Merps, obviously for the whole episode, it was great having you on for the first time. And I think discussion, with Kripp, it was fantastic. So another arena episode under the belt and a successful one nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Really enjoy these kinds of arena episodes on Valley Town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we rarely did them back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know why we rarely did them, but we did. Probably mostly because of
you were
me,
buying in.
You
were buying into Blizzard's agenda.
It's mostly because probably I just don't play quite as much arena, but coming around, definitely coming around.
Mm-hmm. And I think most of a lot of people are who were for a long time mostly or almost very primarily constructed players, just because the game's been around for a while. Even if you still love constructed, there's room to explore the other game modes more now.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to do some shout outs, Merps.
Yeah. So first of all, ChanManV, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun, and I look forward to, I'm always happy to talk about the arena. But if you guys are interested in more arena talk, ADWCTA and I host a podcast called The Light Forge. You could find it on iTunes right now. And this Sunday, we'll be having a new Light Forge with Kripp. So you like exactly what happened today. There will be more happening,
but a lot deeper.
Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. On Lightforge.
Yeah, and also if you guys are just interested in arena plays, period, ADWCTA and I also have a YouTube channel. It's just the channel's name is ADWCTA, and on there we have our edited videos, and we have a lot of our 12-win videos as well, so you can kind of see our thought process, kind of see exactly how we play, and yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the Lightforge podcast with Kripp on Sunday. And I was watching this earlier when Kripp was here with Merps, and I was like, oh man, they're talking about so many of the same cards. Because we're doing week by week wing reviews right before the week.
Oh, right.
So this weekend we're doing wing 2, and half of the good cards are apparently in wing 2. This is what I learned tonight.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna have a lot of the same discussion, but I will also give my take on it.
Exactly.
And hopefully mediate between the differences Kripp and Merps has. And there'll be other stuff too.
Yeah, there's plenty to talk about that we didn't talk about tonight. So, that should be a great episode.
Yeah.
But again, I just want to thank you guys and Kripp for coming on tonight. We'll have the VODs up on youtube.com/ChanManV right after the show. Again, we have a Patreon for ValueTown. It's the best way to support the show and keep the show going. Patreon.com/ValueTown. For all the patrons that are currently supporting the show, I really, really appreciate you guys, and hopefully you're having some fun with some of the things available to the patrons. I want to have more things available, so guys, I want you guys to give me feedback and things like that. Any ideas that you'd like to see me do with the ValueTown patrons, I'm down, I'm totally all for it. Starting next week, guys, we're gonna have call-ins from all of the viewers instead of just doing these Q&As where you send in stuff. I actually have a Discord channel set up, and we'll start taking calls from you guys. Can't wait for that. And you can also listen to ValueTown as a podcast on iTunes, where it's available there, so you can check that out. Or there's a FeedBurner a feed that you can just get directly if you don't use iTunes. You got an Android user or something like that. And again, I'll post that on my website, ChanManV.tv. I'll tweet it as well, so just keep an eye out for that. But, you guys get ready for the expansion tomorrow. I'm excited for everybody to get a chance to get a hold of it and get the cards. I'm going to be building decks right off the bat, or at least with some of the new cards. I hope I can build something with the new cards, because it's going to be... how many wings are there? Are there 4 wings? Is that
4?
There's 4 wings. I think there's a pause in Thanksgiving where we're stuck on wing 3 for a bit before the huge surprise that's wing 4 that no one knows what's going on with.
Right. So... yeah, anyways, I can't wait for the community to actually get a chance to play Wing 1. And I think that's probably what I played at BlizzCon, and it was a lot of fun. Okay, guys, that's going to be for ValueTown 52 for Kripp, ADWCTA, Merps, and myself, ChanManV. We'll see you next time. Later.
See you guys.
See ya.